With that said, ladies and gentlemen, hope you buckled up. Let's give a warm welcome to Regional Vice President, Ms. Keri Roeder.
Good morning, everybody. I am so excited. I absolutely love to be on these calls. So those of you who know me, I'm not a morning person in that I don't like to get up in the morning, right? But I do wake up happy and all of that. But can I tell you, these Mondays that I get to be part of the conversation on these calls, I just wake up all zing, ready to go because I love starting off my day this way and being able to spend the morning with all of you and with our Senior Vice President, Mr. Al Thomas. I'm telling you, it is absolutely amazing. And congratulations and welcome to the people who are new here. I like to always remind all of us and to tell the new people that our Senior Vice President, Mr. Al Thomas, is incredibly humble. And I'm sure you've already heard all of his accolades, but I really want you to understand the weight of the man that is with us right now. He is not just one of the most successful people in ACN. He's actually one of the most successful people in direct sales, multi-level marketing globally. He has been written up in countless magazines. He's been written about in books. He's had books dedicated to him. He is absolutely tremendous. He has helped, I don't know how many, I get the chills every time I talk about this. He has helped, I don't know how many people. Actually, Mr. Thomas, I don't think you probably even know how many people that you have helped find success because of the tools that you've given us between the YouTube channel, the book, and then just your inspiration. Whether people find success in ACN or not, likely they have heard you and they go off and apply what you teach and find success in other areas of their life, business, life, family, friends, right? And so for the people who are new, I want you to really understand the weight of the value in which we have in Mr. Thomas. And so for those of us who've been around for a minute, I'm going to remind us, do not take him for granted. Take advantage of him. You've heard me say this for years now. Take advantage of him. He is willing and able to be supportive and do everything because all he wants, I know this because we have personal, intimate conversations. He wants every single one of us to succeed and to have a bigger level of success than he's even ever dreamed of doing. So that is how we can honor him and his wisdom and his love and his support is by becoming successful. So Mr. Thomas, thank you as always for everything you do. I hope your annual exam is good. Make sure you text me and tell me that you're healthy. Need you around for a lot longer, right? Anyway, and that's one of the great things about building ACN is we become friends in the beginning, right? And then in time, we become like family. And many of you are like family to me. Mr. Thomas is like family to me. Yes, my journey. No, I didn't ever have a bad day. I had some melancholy days, but in those melancholy days, he was one of the very few people I would reach out to. And he walked me through my journey, holding my hand, providing me love and support. And that's one of the biggest blessings that I have experienced in my 15 and a half years is many of you, once you knew what my journey was about, have supported me and encouraged me. Actually, some of you have made pretty clear your observation of me. And when Mr. Thomas says, be a shining light, that's what I'm excited about. And we're going to continue the conversation about the power of events. But Mr. Thomas is a shining light. And when we can all model after that, even some of you have heard me say this, and I love that Roxanne Corlejo uses this. My dad taught me you're entitled to a bad moment, but not a bad day. Right. So even going in my year and a half of going through my divorce journey, it was tough. I went through the mud. Right. So I was having bad moments, but I made sure that every day was a blessing. I made sure that every day I grounded myself to identify my blessings. And so that I was allowing myself bad moments, but I wasn't allowing that bad moment to take over my entire day. And that's the example we have in Mr. Thomas. And so, thank you, Sharon. I really, I appreciate you. As you know, there are no words. Maybe someday I'll be able to come up with some phrases, but there are no words for me to accurately express to you just how much I love and appreciate you. And I drone on about him to all of you because I want you to all understand, like I said, the weight in which the gentleman that we have in front of us and available to us. So please let me know your annual exam went well. So at the end of last Monday, I gave you all an assignment. So I'm curious if anybody, one, remembers the assignment, and 2, did the assignment. I know Kush has already started it. I think probably has already completed it. But my assignment was this. For you, when you hit RVP, throwing it out there, manifesting, bye, I love you. When you hit RVP, Mr. Provenzano is going to introduce you, right? On the screen, it's going to say RVP promotion, and it's going to have your name under there. And then he's going to give a little speech about you to introduce you. He's going to say this next promotion, and then he's going to say these words. And so part of my assignment was for you to write out what Mr. P is going to say about you. And now it's a short, those of you who've been international, it's a short little introduction. And then my second part of my assignment was for you to choose your song, right? Are you going to make us cry? Are you going to make us dance? Are you going to make us inspired, right? What is your song? It's your song, okay? And then write out your speech. You get 5 minutes, and we talked about this, and Mr. Thomas, seconded me. Don't go over 5 minutes, guys. Ugh, don't. Anyway, but you get 5 minutes, so write it out. And that's going to evolve. Like I said, as you go through the med, your speech, or maybe it won't, I don't know, but potentially it's going to evolve. And then once you have all that put together, even just your beginning RVP speech, then I want you to audio record yourself and put on your best Mr. P voice, right? This next person I'm about to interview. That's not how he sounds, but anyway, introduce you, and then play your song for about a minute, the caption of the song you want us to hear, and then say your RVP speech, and then I want you to listen to it every day with your eyes closed, and I want you to feel what it feels like, because this is what we've been talking about. Power of events is about how it makes us feel. Nobody can make you feel a certain way, but Mr. Provenzano, our president, says provide hope and opportunity and the environment to win. So when we go into an environment with hope and opportunity, we, as a result, feel a certain way. And that is what is important. And this is where the power of events come in. So today, what I'm going to do is talk with you about my notes that I took. Where are my glasses? My notes that I took while at International during the RVP speeches. Okay. So it went away. Hold on. Got to show my face. Yeah, that didn't work. Did my code. Okay. So we talked about RVP and SVP promotions, right? And so for those of you who've never been to an international training event, it's impossible to describe to you what the event makes you feel. It's impossible to describe to you what the event is about. So the best example I heard when I first got started, and I use this on stage when I train attending events, it would be like trying to describe the taste of a banana. Can you describe the taste of a banana? No, right? No, Sharon. It just tastes like a banana. So if you've had a banana, you know what it tastes like. If you've never had a banana, then you're like, well, can you describe it? Well, no, it tastes like a banana, right? That is the events. We do our best when you've never been to an event to really build it up to help you understand. Mr. Tony Kupas taught me this. Never convince anybody to get started. Always convince them to attend an event, and then allow that event, whether it's a local BOM, another PBR, or the big Elevate events, regardless, get them to go to an event and allow the event to do what the event is designed to do, right? Which is get people to go, wow, this is the business I want to be a part of. These are the people that I want to be around. So with the power of events, when we are at the Elevate events, and there's thousands of people there. And by the way, for those of you who haven't been around since before COVID, we had like 25,000 people in arenas. We're selling out arenas. And we're going to get back to that, ladies and gentlemen. And then eventually we're going to go into stadiums. You're welcome when we do that. Anyway, but the power of events is that there's thousands of people there, and then they have these moments of recognition, and people get to stand at the podium and they get to talk for a couple of minutes. And I've done that several times. It's amazing to stand there at the podium with Mr. Provenzano asking you to address the crowd, right? And you look around and you get to get your 30 seconds or 1 minute of whatever you're going to say. And it's interesting because I think some people think about it, right? I just got up there and spoke. And I remember one time I turned and Mrs. Debbie Davis was at the podium speaking, and I was all, suddenly I didn't want to do it because I was like, the heck am I going to say right after Mrs. Debbie Davis? Like, she's a godmother of ACN. What? But it's one of those feelings like when you're in the crowd and you're watching these people parade around, and they have an opportunity to speak and tell you about their med, and tell you about their excitement and their vision for the future, and encourage you that you can do this too. And then they switch to the RVP promotions, and we get to hear and experience and feel the promotions from these RVPs, because that's really what it's about. There have been times that I've literally been crying in my seat. And I don't remember a word they said, but I remember how they made me feel during their 5-minute speech. And I remember there's other times where literally I can't wait for them to stop talking so I can jump up out of my seat and just be like, yeah, right? Because of the way they made me feel. But it's all about how we feel. And then there's also this, there is wisdom that we can glean in their speeches. There is wisdom that we can glean in their speeches. So I wrote down some of the wisdom that I heard when we were all in Orlando together. So I'm going to share some of the quotes that I wrote down, and that I will be saying, right? Because we quote other people, we quote other successful people, right? And so that's also great as you gain momentum and you gain the success you're looking for, and you have an opportunity to stand in a leadership position, you're going to end up quoting all these other people too. So the power of events is being there in your seat during an RVP and SVP promotion to glean the nuggets of wisdom and to write down the quotes, and then to be able to quote these amazing people later. So I'm going to go through some of these quotes from that I wrote down. So there was a gentleman that was promoted to RVP on Mr. and Mrs. Street's team. And he talked about how he went from being an ETL, a struggling ETL. Then he went to Elevate in Dallas. He relaunched his business. He had a PBR with 30 guests that turned into 9 IBOs. And now he's standing there talking at the podium. Right? So think about that. He was an ETL. Many of you are ETL. Many of you aren't an ETL. Many of you have been an ETL for years and you feel stuck. Well, Monty went to Elevate. He relaunched his business, but then he didn't just sit idle on his thumbs. He had a PBR with 30 guests. 30 equaled 9 IBOs. 30 guests. I didn't say 3. I said 30. And by the way, for him to get 30 butts in the seats, do you think he called more than 30 people? Probably, right? There's a saying, 50% of the people don't show. So he obviously had more than 30 yeses, right? So if you want to go from a stuck ETL to standing at the podium eventually, you could duplicate what Monty did. Went to an event, relaunched. You can relaunch your business today. Have a PBR with 30 guests equaling 9 IBOs, and then you just take off from there. Mr. Streets talked about the milk cap story. So if you were in Orlando with us, you know what the milk cap story was if you were listening to Mr. Street's SVP promotion, right? He talked about how, well, you know what? I'm going to let you watch that SVP speech. I'm not going to ruin that for you. When it goes on to YouTube and ACN's channel, I want you to watch Mr. and Mrs. Street's SVP promotion, and I want you to listen for the milk cap story. I want you to experience it the way that Mr. Street delivered it. I can't deliver it because it's not my story. And I want, even though you're not live there with him, I want you to, like, when you go to watch this, I want you to connect your phone or your computer or whatever to like a JBL speaker, right? One of those bigger speakers. And I want you to turn that thing up as loud as you can. I don't care what your neighbors say, right? If you're at work, then put your headphones on like Kush does and turn it up as loud as you can and listen to the story. Listen to the milk cap story. Okay. I love this. Matthew Ambrosia, I think it was the one that said it. Once you get to my level of success, then you can decide if you don't like what I say. Oh, that's a good one. Right? I'll say it again. Once you get to my level of success, then you can decide if you don't like what I say. I say it all the time. I said it last week. We teach income generating activities. I just teach what other people like Mr. Thomas and, Mr. Street and Mr. Ambrosia and all these other people have taught me, and I'm forwarding it on, right? But if you want to have the level of success like Mr. Thomas, if you want to have the level of success like the Mazers, if you want to have the level of success like the Streets, like all of these amazing people, well, then heed their advice. And if you don't like it, do it anyway. And then when you reach their level of success, then you can decide if you didn't like it, right? What a brilliant saying. I love that. See, but if I wasn't there in Orlando in my seat paying attention, I wouldn't have caught that to be able to quote it later. I love that one. And you're going to hear that one a lot. Anyway, another one. Focus on finding. Focus on finding. Find the people that are looking for you. Focus on finding. Find the people that are looking for you. That is a great quote. That is a great nugget, right? So again, I've told you this before, I told you this last week, Mr. Mazer taught me that people only hear 7% what we say. And every single one of us, when we go to an event, we pull out what we need to hear at the time, right? Not just for ourselves, but as leaders, we pull out what we need to hear to then forward on the wisdom to other people. Focus on finding. Find the people that are looking for you, meaning don't be disappointed, right? Don't have, and there's another quote in here about that, but don't be like Suzanne and Shanine and I were driving in Uber. And as I was like, talking to the guy, I finally said, are you open, blah, blah. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay, love to exchange numbers and and we can meet up when I get back to California. And then all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, okay, me too. I'd give a blank, right? Like, whatever, dude, that's your loss. You'll even know what you're saying no to, but all right, whatever. I didn't sit there and dwell about it and stop recruiting people because some weird random Uber driver in Orlando that I'll never see again. I don't even know what he looks like. I'm going to look it up in my app, but who cares, right? He's not looking for me. Who's looking for me? My 10 o'clock presentation on Zoom today from the other Uber driver, he's looking for me, okay? We talked already on the phone. We scheduled a presentation with Mr. Turali at 10 o'clock today. He's looking for me. The other Uber driver wasn't. Who cares? Move on, right? Okay, this one I love. Mr. Tony Kubit says, if you're not having fun, you're not doing ACN the right way. If you're not having fun, you're not doing ACN the right way. Wow, powerful, right? Powerful. That's what founder telling us this. Finding leaders are the ones who want to go to training, the people that want to go to training. So you get somebody started right, they don't want to be launched. Well, then why'd you get started? You get somebody started, you launch them, they don't want to get customers. Then why'd you get started? You get somebody started, you invite them to training, they don't want to go to training. Well, then why'd you get started? You get somebody started, they go to training, they're like, wow, this is powerful. You invite them to the next training, they don't want to go. They got to cut their toenails that day, whatever their excuses are, right? Well, okay. You get somebody started, you launch them, they get customers, they have PBRs, they attend training, and then they realize the power of events and they bring guests, they bring IBOs to the next event, to the next training. Guys, the training is for you, yes, but the training is for the newest person. The training is for the newest person. And the people who want to go to training, those are your leaders. Those are the people you work with. And that quote came out of Orlando. Here's another one. Be the messenger, not the message. Wow. Be the messenger, not the message. You hear people say this all the time. Don't be important. Don't be important. It was so cute. So Douglas Wolf has, and by the way, Douglas Wolf, you didn't put it in there. Douglas Wolf has a new qualified IBO. Okay. Yay. And he was teaching her how to do a testimonial for our event. And so we had an opportunity to sit and I got to hear, he knows how to teach, he knows how to do testimonials, so he knows how to teach it. So he taught her how to do the testimonial and she did great. And then I said, I'm going to add one more thing. She's like, okay, Mrs. Roeder, what are you going to add? And I said, because she said, all due to the success and training from ACN. And I said, and I want you to add Mr. Douglas Wolf. And Douglas literally giggled and looked at her and said, yeah, she tells me to teach that part, but it's hard for me to tell you to say that part. It is. It's hard for you to say that part, but it is part. I mean, you help somebody be successful when you help them get customer qualified, when you help them make calls and all that. That's part of their testimonial, is that you are a leader and you have helped them find success. So it's not just due to the training support of ACN, but it's due to the training support of ACN and whoever the leadership is, right? Okay. Be the messenger, not the message. Don't be important. Okay, I love this one. Airline attendant example. No emotion when somebody missed a flight. That was such a cool example in that RVP speech, right? I guess some woman, somebody was sitting at a gate and some woman came running up and they literally just closed the door, right? And they can't open it, federal laws, right? And I guess the woman was like arguing and begging and just trying to do everything to get on that flight. And the flight attendant was like, lady, my hands are tied. What? I can't change this situation for you. You were late. You need to fix that for yourself, right? You need to go problem solve. But the flight attendant didn't care. And I'm sure they probably get that all the time, which is why they're probably immune to it. But when you have that mindset, when you ask somebody, you open to an opportunity, they're like, nope, be the flight attendant. When somebody says, I'm going to show up to your presentation and they don't show, be the flight attendant. Who cares, right? When somebody says ACN and says it's a scam, okay, be the flight attendant. When somebody gets started and then they quit, okay, be the flight attendant. Be the flight attendant, you guys. Don't have emotion. And that's what I was saying earlier, just don't have emotion when people give their answer. Mr. Kupitz teaches us it's about their timing. It has nothing to do with you. Don't be so important that you think their answer has something to do with you. You nailed the presentation, therefore they're getting started, right? You fumbled your way through the presentation and nobody got started. It has nothing to do with you. It's all about their timing. Don't be important. It is all about their timing. But regardless of their answer, if it's no or negative, be the flight attendant. Who cares? Right? Who cares? The flight attendant we used to use years ago was, how they're coming along, right? And they're taking your order and they're like, would you like something to drink? Right? And you're like, oh, I have a soda. And the person next to you is like, no, thank you, I'm good. Do the flight attendant stand there in the aisle and go, what? What do you mean you want something to drink? But we have soda, we have beer, we have wine, we have I can make you coffee. I'll make you coffee. You look tired. I'll make you, please. Can I please make you a cup of coffee? Dear God, you're on my flight. We're going to be on this flight for 6 hours. It's a 6-hour flight. Please, can I please give you something to drink? Please, I'm begging you. It's my job. I need to keep, I'm being dramatic, right? Don't you think some of you handle rejection that way? No, please. No, you guys. They go, all right. Then they look to the third seat and that person's asleep already. They don't wake them up. They go, okay, get them next time. Because it's a 6-hour flight. They're going to be walking by again, right? You guys, be a flight attendant. It's such a great example. Such a great example. And I can give you this example because I was there in Orlando in my seat listening to know what was said, right? Wow. Okay. Another quote. Want SVP? Can't just focus on the end product. Must go through the mud to get to SVP. That is what Mr. and Mrs. Street talked about. We have to go through the mud, you guys. You heard me say last week, and you've heard me say it before. My divorce journey, right? When it first started, it was ugly. It was ugly. It was mud. I recognized that I needed to go through the 5 stages of grief and loss in order to come out the other side with peace and joy. And I went through the mud. I intentionally went through the mud. And when I came out on the other side, I found peace and joy. And I tell you what, it's blissful. It is. I share this personal stuff with you because I want you to understand RVP is the same way. You go through the mud. You're going to have nights where you're going to drive home from your PBR crying. Like, what was that? You're going to have nights where you're going to drive home from your PBR wanting to go to Denny's or Lions and tell the whole world what a successful PBR you had, because 6 people got started, right? You're going to want to call everybody and wake them up, and you're going to get home, you're not going to be able to sleep because you're so jacked up. You're going to have moments where you have a customer who something goes wrong, right? Not your fault. Technology fails or whatever. You're going to have moments where your IBOs blame you for their lack of success. Dear God, if I could tell you how many times that happened to me, finally I was like, flight attendant, okay, well, I'm very sorry that you feel like that. Your lack of success is my responsibility. You know, how can I serve you? How can I help you? Whatever. Got a backbone. Was like, dude, your lack of success is your lack of success. Don't blame it on me. Like, I'm simply forwarding on information to help you be successful. Information was given to me that I did that. So, okay, I'm not going to take responsibility for your lack of success. Right? So, as we go through the mud to RVP, and then your phone alerts, right? Congratulations, you've been promoted, right? And then your upline starts to call you because they get their alert. Congratulations, a new IPO has been promoted RVP in your downline, right? As that happens, and then by then you're probably friends with the founders, so they're probably reaching out to you to say congratulations, right? And then AC and corporate office, I get the chills. AC and corporate office starts to reach out to you to organize your RVP promotion at the next Elevate event. And then you get the email with the survey, and then you get the letter from Mr. Provenzano saying congratulations, right? You get the pin and all that, and then as you're getting your flights to that Elevate, because you know you're going to be promoted RVP, as you're having home meetings and you're having Zooms and you're doing trainings leading up to that, like I get the chills, you guys, leading up to that Elevate event where you know you're being promoted to RVP because you already are an RVP. When you stand there in front of people saying, come with us to Orlando in March, I swear to God, it's going to be amazing. Your level of enthusiasm is going to be absolutely incredible, and people are going to want to go just because of what you're exuding, right? Because you know that's your moment. And then when you do go and you get there and you walk in that lobby, right, and you're rolling your bag and people are like, congratulations, right, hugging you, all excited, can I have a picture with you? It's the coolest thing, right? And then you don't sleep the night before because you're so excited, or at least I didn't, right? And then that morning you're like sitting there and just Provenance talking, and you're like, and then Mr. Kupitz comes out and gives the announcements for all the products and all the great stuff, and then they start the training, and you're like, talk faster, Patrick, right? And then it's time, and you get your little backstage pass, and you get to go back there, and everybody's congratulating you back there, right? And you've already prepared all the stuff we talked about, and you're standing there, and you hear Mr. P, and you're crying or whatever you're doing, right? And you go out there and you hear your song, and you get your flowers, you get your pin. Mr. Kupitz pins you, right? You get to have that intimate conversation with him while he's pinning you. It's cool. It's really cool to be able to talk to him like that. And then Mr. P gives you a hug and motions towards the podium, right? And then you stand there and you give that speech you've already prepared, and you have that feeling. That's what I'm talking about. So my personal sharing about my divorce journey, going through the mud and finding peace and joy, is just the exact same of the mud that I went through in 3.5 years to be able to stand at that podium and talk and be inspiration. As Mr. Thomas said, right? Be the light. Be the light that the inspiration that other people want to be. It's amazing. I'm going to end with this. When in Orlando, we were in the restaurant and I was cold, so I went to leave to get a sweater up in the room. And as I was walking out, I was by myself, I was walking out, and there's, excuse me. And I didn't want to assume, right? But here, excuse me, I could kind of tell they were asking for me. But so I turn around, and this young man, his name is Guy. So if you're watching this guy, hi, Guy. Anyway, this young man stops me and says, Mrs. Roeder, thank you. I watch your YouTube videos, and you're so he's going on and on about his perspective of my YouTube videos and how it's helpful to him. He said, matter of fact, I downloaded videos to watch on the plane and some of them are yours. And I was like, wow, what an honor, right? That's so cool. And so as I'm talking to him, like, what's your name? You know, where are you from and all that. And I looked at him and I said, you know what, guy? I said, thank you. Thank you for stopping me. I said, you know what? I cannot wait to watch your YouTube videos. And he lit up. He absolutely lit up. And so, guy, if you're watching this one, I am excited to watch your YouTube videos. I'm excited to see you again and to know that your story, I have the chills again, your story is going to inspire and empower and motivate people to move forward with their success. So the power of events. When we go to events, we each have our own different experiences. So I told you all that I would walk you through why I'm still an ACN. So Mr. Street, Mr. Matthew Montaigne is why I got started. They were on the video. You heard that last week. But my very first international event, there was something that happened, or a series of things that happened as to where my backbone, where my decision, where my drive came from. And I'm going to share that with you next week. It's a long story, so I'm going to use the whole time that we have, but I'm going to share it. And I'm going to share it with you because I'm hoping that when you hear it, not only will it inspire you, but that you could use this story to inspire other people and get them to go with us to Orlando in March. So Mr. Clemens, I think I'm turning it back to you, or Mr. Mills. There you are. Again, everybody, I have a great Monday. And as Mr. Thomas would say, you know, do something to move your business forward, and be on his effective presentation tomorrow night. And Mr. Thomas, when you watch this video, love you. And I'm going to turn this call over to Mr. Clemens.